Welcome to Embrace Joy, Walking the Road to Restoration. Today, what I want to talk about is the trial that is going on between Jean Carroll and Donald Trump. The report of sexual assault between Donald Trump and Jean Carroll is a classic example of what not to say or do with a victim of trauma. I am appalled of the questions and accusations the lawyers are raising with Miss Carroll. How this is being handled is why many victims do not come forward after being sexually assaulted. How does asking her why she didn't burn her dress matter in proving the assault happened? Questioning why she waited until now also has no bearing on the case. How she emotionally reacted or didn't react is also inappropriate to ask. The legal system is to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt as to if the perpetrator actually assaulted the victim. It is not about questioning the victim to find fault in their confession. One of the reasons why I never told anyone after my assault occurred is that the perpetrator told me that I had asked for it because of what I had been wearing. The shame I felt had me question if I had done something wrong, but I was not responsible for the assault. The person at fault was the perpetrator. Donald Trump is the one who needs to be questioned. The media is focused on how this charge will affect Trump's life, but no one is paying attention to the fact how much the sexual assault is affecting Miss Carroll and will affect her for the rest of her life. They're not even listening to her friends who knew about the assault. So, what do you do? What do you say if you know of someone who has been assaulted? It is hard to know what to say. Asking such outlandish questions adds to the trauma that survivors already have. I came across a article written by Hope for Healing, which offers some great advice as to what to say and what not to say. I will put the link to their website in the description, but I want to give you a couple of the advice that they had on their website. The first one is to say, I believe you. It can be extremely difficult for someone to come forward and actually share their story. I have worked with trauma survivors for over 20 years, and sometimes I'm the first person that they ever told about their sexual assault. Sometimes they feel shame. Sometimes they were concerned that they wouldn't be believed, or they're worried that they will be blamed. It's important not to ask why. Your job is just to support the person. Another thing that you can say that's really helpful is it's not your fault. You did not do anything to deserve this. Reminding them, maybe more than once, that they are not to blame. I know of someone who was raped while on their first date with someone, and they were told afterwards that they should have known not to go out on a date with this individual. Another person explained to them that they had asked for it because they had gone on a date and it was part of what was expected on a date. That is not true. The fact that she also became pregnant added to the trauma. So it is not their fault. No matter what has happened to you, no matter how you reacted, it is still not your fault. Another way that you can show support is to let them know that they are not alone. Listening to them is so important. Letting them know it is okay and comfortable to share. Also, let them know that you can only help so much and there are resources available to them. The National Sexual Assault Hotline can be reached at 800-656-HOPE, 800-656-4673. And I will put that number also in the description. Another thing that you can show support is to ask the question or make the statement that you're sorry that this happened, letting them know that it should not have happened to them. When they're talking about their trauma and how they're feeling, repeat back to them what you heard to make sure that you understand and they understand exactly what they have said. Acknowledge that this assault has affected their life and let them know that you will always be there as they process the trauma. Phrases like, "This must be really tough for you," or "I'm glad you are sharing this with me," that offers empathy. When I was in college, the first person that I really talked to about my assault listened, repeated back to me what I had said, and explained to me how much I was not at fault. I will forever be grateful to her and for her support. A survivor, it is hard to admit as to what has happened to us. So when someone actually comes forward and shares what has happened, avoid judgment. They are handling the trauma in the way that they need to handle the trauma. Each person reacts differently to being assaulted, but that does not mean it didn't happen. Even after they talk to you, reach out to them afterwards. Even if the trauma happened a long time ago, the effects, like I mentioned, continue for the rest of your life. Reassure them that you are always there, you care, and you're there to help. As we listen to this trial and we think about other victims of sexual assault, I encourage you to join me in praying for those victims. With this trial, also continue to pray for the judicial system, that the truth will come out. I know God is watching, and He is the judge and jury. And no matter what the court decides, He knows where they live, and He will hold them accountable. If you have been a victim of sexual assault, I encourage you to reach out and tell a trusted person. Call the hotline. Even if you decide not to press charges, you need the support of someone who has been there before. Now, for me, I made the decision not to press charges, but often wish I had, as there was proof that he had assaulted another person. Having someone like a trauma counselor is so important to process the assault and to make the decision that is right for you. My purpose is also to help you process your trauma. Remember, you are not alone. God promises to restore your health and heal your wounds. That promise is in Jeremiah 30:15. He will give you beauty for ashes. Another verse that I hold dear to my heart and reminds me of how much God loves me is in Joel chapter 2, verses 25 through 27. So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust, my great army which I sent among you. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, who has dealt wondrously with you. My people shall never be put to shame. Then you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. I am the Lord your God, and there is no other. My people shall never be put to shame. When he talks about the crawling locust, the consuming locust, that is the description of the perpetrator. They are a disgusting bug, and with God's help, they will be squashed, and God will restore what those locusts have eaten. On our next episode, we will talk a little bit more about how survivors can be restored, how we can support those who have experienced not just sexual assault, but other types of trauma. You are not alone. You are not to blame. Your voice matters. We will continue to walk this road to restoration together.